My, what a gift the book of Job is. Now, if all you've done is watch the videos and you've not taken advantage of the Bible reading or the Devos, you can go to our onebaptist.org/devotional there again, and you can pull up all of those Devos if you want to. You can print them, download them, whatever. But I would encourage you to go through. I'd encourage you to go through them every day, but certainly in this book of Job. When you pull up today's, you'll see two characters. I'm going to say it that way. In the book of Job, that is often mentioned to you, that leaves to question whether it's a whale or a dinosaur. Some would say a hippopotamus, and yet it's not that at all. And as you see Scripture compared with Scripture, you may be amazed at what it is that you find there in Job chapter 40 and 41, but yet you'll need to have an understanding of that, to have an understanding of God. You'll see at the very end of the Devo today in the Christ Revealed section how Job is a picture of Jesus Christ as he's able to pray for his friends that had done him so wrong. Oh my, get that picture of Jesus, oh won't you? And then you'll see right above that, you'll see 8 sentences, 8 bullets, if you will, that kind of gives you a capsulization of a summarization of what you can take from the entire book of Job, and also providing you a lot of that why that we've been talking about was coming at the end of our Bible reading today. But before you get to that, I want you to hear this. We were coming in 38 of Job yesterday, and you saw where Job's finally going to get his answer from God, but he gets that answer from God in a series of questions. It says, and the Lord answered Job, and then when you start reading the answer, you start seeing it's a bunch of questions. Chapter 39 continues that very pattern. If I could look down myself in my Bible, it continues that very pattern. But I want you to know that God is not seeking answers from Job. Instead, he's trying to get Job to recognize and to submit to God's power and to God's sovereignty as the authority of all things. And it was only then that he would be able to get his answer, but he would get his answers from questions. Listen, Job, in the myriad of ways of which he had presented his why, and he did it in different manners and different definitions as you're reading through the Scriptures and how he asked it or wondered it, but no doubt his focus was constantly on why, what was happening. And ultimately, we found that was because Job's focus had become Job. In asking all of those questions, what happened was Job had begun to get wrapped up in himself, defending himself, talking about himself, exalting himself, ultimately pleased with himself. And yet what you'll find is, ironically, or from God's perspective purposely, Job had to get over himself, behind himself, beyond himself, and ultimately humble himself before he would get the answer that he was looking for. In chapter 28 alone, you'll find where Job has this case of the I or me-itis. In 20 verses, Job uses the word I or me 52 times. Why? Because he was his focus. You'll see him even talk about his righteousness, forgetting where true righteousness comes from, which meant he was forgetting God. So in God, questioning becomes his answering to Job. Job saw who God was by seeing who Job was not. And in Job 42:5, he says, I have heard of thee by the hearing of thy ear, but now mine eye seeth thee. And that is all that God wanted. And when God got what he wanted, Job got what he needed, which for some they would say was restoration. But I would submit to you, it was a new beginning. Ultimately, if God could handle the universe, he could handle Job's universe. And Job needed to see that with God trusting Satan's handling of Job, knowing that Satan had his limits, he was trying to reveal that he, God, did not have limits. Job needed to know that. And when he did, Job got God's story. I pray you did too, and that you got a new beginning right around the corner. God bless.